I was asked to be co-host of a Woody Allen podcast by my good friend Dom Wonder, and I have accepted. At great peril, I worry. Um, Associating yourself with Woody Allen these days is not exactly a key to success the way it once was. We're going to cast our gaze 40 years ago when being associated with him was the thing to be, and yet not with this movie. We're going to talk about Stardust Memories. This is volume 2 of my 9-volume Woody Allen collection. Stardust Memories followed like a string of successes. He had just 2 years before done Annie Hall. Then he followed that up with Interiors. Not a well-regarded Woody Allen movie now, but at the time, it got a lot of awards attention, and it was his attempt at something dramatic. Follows that up a year later with Manhattan. Boom, scores another just knockout. The guy's on fire. He can do no wrong. Woody Allen is the king of Hollywood at this moment. And then he makes Stardust Memories. And, boy, the critics hated this. The fans didn't like it. And I think it's very telling that Woody sees this as one of his best movies. I like this movie. I know my co-host does not, but I do. I like this movie. This is Woody really combining his love of heavy dramatic themes and comedy. And I think he does it very successfully. He plays what he claims is not a thinly veiled version of himself, but it's very hard to see it as anything else. A comedic filmmaker desperately wanting to be taken seriously, to go from a comedian to a tragedian. And the studio hates what he's trying to do. They're trying to change his film. He's miserable. He's in classic Woody Allen fashion, trying to figure out his love life and should he be with this beautiful woman that loves him while he's still haunted by the psychotic girlfriend that he had. And in the middle of all this, he goes to a film festival honoring him, showing his movies, where he's going to be a speaker there. Woody says that once you get to the film festival, this is all inside the guy's head. And there is a magic realism to everything after that point. You know, everything from him meeting aliens and having these out-of-body experiences to wooing a third woman there. And what fans didn't like at the time was they felt he was complaining about his life, about his lot in life, his horrible lot in life that he's this big famous comedian, while also simultaneously making fun of them for actually enjoying his movies. His fans in the movie are cloying, strange people who, he's desperate to get away from. I don't know. I can see how people would make that leap. I don't see it. He says that was not the case. But you know what? Even if it was, I could see that being a reality. Guy who's just people, especially after Interiors, oh, we love your movies, especially the early funny ones. I can see that. I can see that being a problem that he would grapple with. And I don't think that's something to criticize him over. I'm really trying to judge the movie as a movie too, outside of what he may or may not be projecting towards his audience. And as a movie, it is one that I am drawn to over and over and over again, even more so than Annie Hall or Manhattan. I've watched Stardust Memories like 5, 6 times, and I've watched Manhattan maybe 3. This is a really interesting movie. It's the interesting that keeps me coming back. It's not hilarious. Uh, it's not even particularly deep. But what he is reaching for with it is something that I find fascinating. This is a guy who is challenging his audience. That's how I see it. He's not making fun of his audience. He's challenging them. And he's challenging himself. He's challenging like his own ego in it. I think it's a really brave movie. I think it's he could have played it safe. He could have, after Manhattan, he could have knocked out something like Husbands and Wives or Hannah and Her Sisters, and had people on his side. He could have just done a goofy comedy with Diane Keaton, and everybody would have lost their mind. He didn't do that. He wanted to challenge himself, and he didn't care if he succeeded or not. Which you got to give credit to him for. You can't do that anymore. You know, people who want to just take a risk. There's too much money involved. There's too much politics involved. You know, movie fails and it's the end of the world. Stardust Memories, you got to be a Woody Allen fan to like it. Nobody's going to like it if they don't like Woody. This is not one of the more accessible movies that he's made. This is something that is very niche, I think. But if you are a Woody Allen fan, check it out. You got to check it out if you're a Woody Allen fan. I would say it's in the top 10 movies of his you got to watch. Stardust Memories, I'm going to give it 4 out of 5 stars. It's just a fascinating look inside the mind of a filmmaker. And he claims it's not him. I am one of those people who doesn't really believe him.
The worlds. Sort of gave myself the challenge of, okay,